Staring down the barrel of war with Iran once again. Well, it looks like the U.S. is on the precipice of war with Iran again. U.S. officials are telling the press that they anticipate an impending Israeli attack on Iran, while the family members of U.S. military personnel are being assisted with evacuation from bases in the region. This comes as Tehran issues a warning that it will strike all U.S. military bases within range of its missiles if it comes under attack. There are reportedly some 50,000 U.S. troops in 10 bases which could come under fire should this occur. The U.S. is also evacuating its embassy in Iraq and has authorized the departure of non-essential personnel from its embassies in Kuwait and Bahrain. Asked by the press about the evacuations, President Trump said, "They are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens. We've given notice to move out." End quote. Trump is openly declaring a willingness to strike Iran if nuclear negotiations fall through, while saying he is now much less confident that any deal will be made. If they don't make a deal, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. If they do make a deal, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon too, the president said in an interview published on Wednesday, adding that, quote, "It would be nicer to do it without warfare, without people dying," end quote. If the U.S. backs an Israeli attack on Iran, and then Iran retaliates by killing a bunch of U.S. military personnel, we could be looking at a full-scale direct war between the U.S. and Iran. As I've said in this space many times before, this would be the absolute worst-case nightmare scenario for the Middle East, unleashing horrors that dwarf all the other terrible abuses currently happening in the region. As Trump's now Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, said in 2019, back when she publicly opposed Trump's warmongering, "What is important that the American people know is a war with Iran would make the war in Iraq look like a cakewalk." It's so stupid that this keeps happening. This could all be avoided by the U.S. simply ceasing to support the genocidal apartheid state of Israel no matter what it does. The fact that Washington has continued to pour weapons into Israel despite all its warmongering and genocide since 2023 means the U.S. supports everything that Israel has been doing. If a war with Iran does occur, you will doubtless hear Western pundits and politicians trying to spin this as America getting drawn into another war in the Middle East, or Trump being tricked or manipulated into war. But make no mistake, the U.S. could have turned away from this path at any time, and still can. If this Pandora's box is opened, it will be because the U.S. empire knowingly chose to open it.